glad to have you here with us today. We're going to just be casual, and we're just going to talk about some stained glass, mostly about the art therapy side of stained glass, which is very exciting. And we found it actually by accident. We never meant going into stained glass that it was going to be a therapy session for people. It just kind of evolved. It's just sometimes you work on something and think, guess what this is turning into?
Yeah, that's pretty neat. Now, Jeanne is my favorite designer, and so as she teaches classes, she often gets involved with people who express the fact that they feel like they're taking stained glass therapy. So it's like they made it up on their own. And I thought it was interesting that there is an actual art therapy that's a mental health profession.
Oh yes, yeah, it's very important. And they have found that, well, right now it's very popular that coloring books are on the market. And it seems like there are a lot of therapy art coloring books that very intricate little designs, which some of them might even make good stained glass designs anyway, and patterns. But a lot of that is just for therapy. I think people just need to relax. And which brings us to the next point.
Well, it does also help people to, explore their own feelings, reconcile emotional conflicts, foster self-awareness. These are just things off this list that I made, and manage behavior and addictions. Can you believe that? Isn't that great?
Yeah.
And develop social skills. I don't know that it helps me with many social skills.
We'll keep trying to.
Yeah, and it improves reality orientation, reduces anxiety, and it increases self-esteem. And I really believe in that. I really think it does. So.
Well, remember that lady who came over and she had just lost a partner, like only 3 months before she took our class.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And when she came over, I mean, she was just so sad. I'm even surprised that she could take herself out of her comfort zone to come to a stained glass class.
Yeah.
But this is how she chose to deal with her bereavement. And there were some days that she came and she didn't want to talk. She just cut glass, ground glass, and it was just a quiet time of reflection for her. Yeah. And then other times she wanted to talk about it.
Yeah.
And it was a safe place.
And it felt like she became a real close friend. It was really neat. And then there was the lady who came, and I can't remember. She brought 2 or 3 friends with her, and we had 2 other students at the same time who were coming to a regular class. And after the class, they came up and they said, I think we're not gonna come to class and for 6 weeks until this lady's done with her class.
She was grouchy.
She was something else.
And picky.
But and then in the next week, we found that had she lost a pet?
Her dog had died.
Yeah.
And we didn't know, but this piece, the stained glass piece she was making, was actually to put on the fence near where she had buried her dog. And after she kind of talked about it a little bit, and we all kind of knew the situation, she settled down. I mean, it was amazing. She had to go through it.
Her friends even knew that she was being grouchy and ornery and hard to get along with, and it was really something. So now we're going to announce that this video is 5 reasons that stained glass is really good therapy. So we're finally up to reason number 1.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Stained glass is a multi-leveled art. You can be a complete novice, and this could be your first time. And as a matter of fact, most of our students are first-time students. And they come in and they say, I don't know what I'm doing, but this sounded fun. It was on my bucket list, and so they wanted to try it out. And doesn't scare us a bit, because they go away with a finished product that is, you know, like it says, you don't have to be a creative savant. I thought that was good. It's challenging. I'm not going to say that you can come in and just whip something out. No, you have to have a growth mindset and realize that you're going to make mistakes. Glass breaks.
Yeah, that's true. But one of the things that I really like about stained glass is that whatever level you're at is where you can start. And when you get done with a piece of stained glass, half of the art is that the light coming through the glass is so beautiful. And so it's not like a drawing class. You know, you draw I don't know, any subject. You draw your little thing, and you get that done, and you stand back and you say, "Oh man, that's terrible." You know, it looks like a 3-year-old did it. You know, or maybe a 3-year-old would do even better. And in fact, I think one of the cards that you put up online was kind of cute about that. That what, no one says that an artist has to be able to draw a straight line or something like that.
And it's true. Well, we'll go along with that. Remember that student that we had who came in with an actual child's drawing. His little daughter had made this cute little drawing of, was a giraffe, I think.
Yes, I
and
remember
it was
that.
just adorable. And he says, "Could we make this into a stained glass window?"
Yeah.
And it was so adorable that, and it was just a child's drawing, like you were talking about, but it was darling.
And didn't we apply the giraffe to the glass background? It seems like we did, and that was kind of based on a child's drawing that we had made out of glass when our son did a picture of a fish. Remember that? And we cut out his picture, and so we had done it. So
that's just one more way that you can enjoy stained glass, is have a child's drawing, one of your own kids to come and draw you something. So yeah, you don't have to be an artist, but on the other hand, if you are, that's just another level that you can start at.
Well, that's good, and this takes us to right into point 2, which is that you can do a design by someone else.
Yes.
And most of our students start out doing a design that we've done, and we've got some really good, fun designs. And
they're simple lines, so that you can start, you know, at a more beginning level.
Yeah.
But sure, and there are lots of designs out there. You can make your own. You can allow somebody else to draw it for you. There are lots of them, free patterns online.
And now every design is not equal. I remember, now we started back in the early 80s doing stained glass, and there were some popular books back then of stained glass designs, and I don't know if you remember, I won't mention any names, but there were a couple that you would take their patterns, and they were a nice starting place, but you really had to modify every single one. And I wondered then if the people who drew up those books had actually built the windows in stained glass. I mean, there would be occasional colored pictures of a window, and so you knew that they had photographed that design, but a good half of them that were color had been colored in with colored pencils.
Yeah, so they may not have built it and not realized that it would be difficult, especially for a beginner.
And I think that's true, that we'll even sometimes we'll do one, and you'll hand me a piece that's just a real challenge.
I say, honey, you're an expert cutter. You can do it, no problem.
It's really true. Sometimes she really challenges me.
So okay. So next one, it's hard to be bored.
Oh, and this is one of my favorites. Just yesterday, I was out working in the stained glass studio, and I would cut glass for, 15 or 20 minutes, and then my back would start to hurt.
Yeah.
And so this wasn't about boredom. This was about, oh, geez, my back's starting to hurt.
Yeah.
And so then I would just switch gears, and I would walk away and sit down and foil for a few minutes. And then when my back felt better, I would go back and stand up again.
So you've got your cutting, and then grinding, foiling, soldering, cleaning. So there's lots of things. So when you're kind of tired of one thing, there's a brand new thing to do. So that's great.
Yeah, and it's hard to get to a point where you're actually frustrated with stained glass, because before you have a chance to get bored or frustrated, usually you're moving on to the next thing.
So that's part of the therapy of it too.
Yeah.
To keep your mind moving, keep your mind engaged in your process.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, I think that's too. Now we have a fourth point that's somewhat subjective, but it can be a very social activity. I think that people who come and take a class with a friend, I think that they really get the social experience.
And some of them drive from a long ways away.
Yeah.
So even the drive can be a fun thing for them just to get here.
Exactly. That's exactly what I wanted to say, was that the drive
Sorry.
here. No, we're both on the same path. But they would get the enjoyment of driving together, and then they would come and take the class, and then they go home, and so.
Yeah, we have really made friends with students that we will continue their friendship after the class, because it's been an amazing connection journey. Yes.
Yeah.
And even people who have done classes together will exchange phone numbers or emails, and so that's kind of a rewarding thing.
Yeah, there were two girls who drove from Salt Lake, and they came for literally years taking the class together. And sometimes it would be hit and miss, because different things would come up in life.
That's always.
And they were so kind. One Christmas, they gave us a brand new kitchen faucet, because the one we had in our sink was leaked a little bit, and it was kind of tacky. And we just didn't get around to changing it.
They gave us a beautiful faucet. I mean, how many times do you get a new faucet as a Christmas present?
It was really something, yeah. But and we have another stained glass student who is kind of a social, what would you call her?
Social planner.
Planner for us, yeah. And she'll get us together with our other students that we all took classes together, and it's just been great.
And yet on the other hand, many times we'll just maybe put on some nice music out there, and I've had lots of times, I teach the process, and then they can just take off, and all they need really is some coaching after that.
Yeah.
And so there have been times when, we'd go an hour and not say a word to each other, and to them, that was the exact kind of therapy that they needed.
Yeah, and so this would be step 5, which is that the process can be like meditation.
Hey!
It's just, boy, we really wrote a good script here, didn't we? But it's true. I thought I would mention that when I first started with stained glass, I thought I hated soldering. No, really, I did.
Because you're so good at it
Yeah.
now, I can imagine.
Well, she's heard this story 100 times, but I really did think that I hated it. But as I started doing stained glass, more and more, I realized I just absolutely loved it. And then it occurred to me that the reason that I thought that I hated it was because I had memories of soldering in the electronics field for my dad's company when I was a kid. And I hated that.
Bad memories.
Yeah, and it wasn't really that I hated it. It wasn't something that was very pleasant for me. But now I find that, well, you know, when you go do quilting, sometimes you'll get into that kind of a Zen-like.
Oh yeah. Another story I have about that is, and this is more of the design process, but I was drawing with a friend of mine, and I was so into it, just making this design, that she said later to me, she says, Jeannie, I came over to you, I asked if you needed a drink of water, I asked you how it was going, and I thought at first you were being rude because you were just ignoring me. And I said, really? I never heard you. So sometimes you get so in the zone, and especially when you've got this beautiful window that you're working on, and you just think, oh, I can't wait to see the light shining through this. And you're there. Like you say, it's kind of this Zen feeling, and that actually happens. You know, what's interesting is sometimes it's difficult. It's difficult to cut. And sometimes, you know, you're grinding and you have to concentrate and stuff. So it's not that it's easy, which makes it meditative. It's more like because you are focusing so much and you're just right there, that it becomes almost a restful activity, but you're concentrating at the same time.
Well, you know, we were talking about this the other day when we were talking about doing this script, and I mentioned to you that when I'm soldering, when I'm doing the tacking, I really pay close attention, because I feel like that's the part where
to fit.
You want, like if you've got a little gap here, you want to make this piece fall within the gap just right. And so you're lining things up and making them just fall in the right place, and so you really pay attention. But then once they're all tacked in, then you can get into that zone of meditative state.
And because solder, it just kind of flows, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, many of our students would say, this is like mercury. And it kind of is, it just kind of flows, especially if you just got the right flow going.
Yeah.
And so I think, and let me just say, you're very good at it.
Well, you know, it takes practice, and it's only from practice, but it's really enjoyable. And so we're standing here as witnesses to the fact that there really can be a therapy in art, and we believe we found it in
by accident.
And it's good as marriage therapy too. I mean, you know.
We still work together every single day.
And I've got a story about that. One time I had done something stupid, like I often do, and I don't remember what it was, but I knew that I needed Jeannie's help to help me out in the stained glass studio for the evening, and I knew that I needed to do something to make up for whatever I'd done. I don't know what I'd done.
I don't remember.
Yeah, good thing. It's therapy. It's
awesome,
water
baby.
beyond the bridge. But anyhow, I went into her yoga room that she practiced for a while back, and took some of the essential oils that we had, and I took the diffuser, and I took it out into the studio and put it in. It put out this neat little fog that smelled good, and it blended out, and it smelled good. And then I wondered, hey, I wonder if I could use orange oil to cut glass with, and I tried it, and what do you know, it worked. And of course, later we found out that it gums up your cutter, and it doesn't work, so we had to
fix it.
reformulate it. But that's how we discovered that, was just because, you know, we.
Yeah, and it worked. I came out and helped him, and I thought, oh, it smells really good out here. It smells like orange.
Yeah,
And so
I
yeah,
put on
the
some.
diffuser, it diffused the situation.
Oh, ooh, you must.
I know.
She's a yoga instructor too, so you know. Well, did we want to say anything else?
I think we about covered it. Thanks for being with us in this kind of casual discussion about how therapeutic stained glass can be. We'd love to have you join us sometime, and if you're not in the area, we would love to have you watch some of our videos about how to cut and how to build glass. Also, look forward to some of our online classes that you can make your own studio at home, a Zen stained glass studio.
All right, well, thanks.